Okay, today is March 21st, 2015. Let's take a look at the market and then we take a look at a few stocks. First of all, let's take a look at the S&P 500. Last week we were talking about the S&P 500. Need to get back about these level here. The first one is the January pivot high. Once you get back above that, then we'll, waiting to see can it take out the December pivot high. Once you take out the pivot high on December, the December pivot high, then game's on the new all-time high. Essentially, we're looking for the S&P 500 right now to come back up and tag this all-time high. See the FOMC meeting on Wednesday really gave the market a big boost here. We just took out this December high. So essentially right now we're looking for the S&P 500 to come up and tag this all-time high and possibly put in a new all-time high. Because right now we're essentially looking at the possibility of coming up to at least maybe somewhere around this, near this trend line here, and that could be somewhere up at the 2150. Now, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but basically when it's in the all-time high, new high territory, the only way one could project some sort of a price target is either using trend lines or Fibonacci retracement. That's one. Those are the two that I use. So yeah, we can also basically look at maybe a little bit more of a closely, trend line here. So essentially, that's still kind of put it up at this 2150 area here. So those are just possibility, and you just have to kind of monitoring it. But at least right now, in the near term, we're essentially looking at to come back up and retest these, 2119.59. Also put down some of the number here, just kind of remind myself also on this chart here, the uh, the all-time high and the all-time closing high. The closing high is on March the 2nd, which is up here, and it closed at 2179. I mean, 2117.39, and the intraday high, the all-time intraday high, is actually printed on the 25th, which is this day here, and that's the day that also we got a non-confirmed Dow Jones high, right? So that was the day that it actually printed this all-time high on the S&P. So talking about the Dow Jones, let's go and take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial. Same thing with the Dow Jones Industrial. We're looking for it to come back up and take out this January pivot high, then the December pivot high. So right now we're looking for the Dow Jones to come back up and test this all-time high and possibly put in a new all-time high. One interesting note is the transportation. If the Dow Jones Industrials chop around for a little bit, and it might give enough time for the transportation to actually catch up because it's getting close. And if we get a confirmation with the transportation on the for the next new Dow Jones Industrial new high, then that could be really interesting because then we could see this Dow Jones Industrial could go much higher. Well, at least come up to this upper channel, and that's has some ramification to Apple. Could have some ramification to Apple's move if that's the case, because Apple now is part of the Dow Jones Industrial, right? It's one of the component now. So that's kind of interesting. And looking at the NASDAQ 100, you see NASDAQ 100 is also coming up to try to put in a new 52-week high. And this is the all-time high. This is the dot-com bubble high. The all-time high is actually made on the Friday prior to the blowout high, the closing high on the following Monday. So the on the 24th of March at the year 2000, the all-time high, the intraday was 4816.35, and then on Monday it closed at 4704.73. So that's the number that I kind of have a feeling that this index might try to hit, and that would be at 161 somewhere up here on this Fibonacci swing here. So essentially, I'm just kind of watching that. And if we put this little trend line up here, so that kind of project the possibility of heading up that way. So we just kind of watch that right now. But at least in the near term, I believe it will take out this high here. This recent high, and possibly get up to the 4500 area, 45, 4600 area, this 127 extension. And then looking at the Russell 2000, we were talking about taking out this new high, and you can see that it's just taking off, and it's like a little bit short-term parabolic type of move, and getting up to this 127 extension. So right now we're essentially looking for it to just follow the Fib, and then I'm saying that that 1300 level going to be a magnet because it's a nice round number. And I believe maybe next week, as soon as we get close to that, get up to 1280, this 141 extension, we probably start seeing those talking head on the media putting up this 1300 watch here for the Russell 2000. So that's an interesting thing to watch. Also, the small cap is definitely outperforming the large cap right now, the big cap. And here's the NASDAQ Composite. The talking head is already monitoring this 5,000, and we got close to this all-time closing high, this bubble, the dot-com bubble all-time closing high of 5,048.62. A few points shy of that, and kind of backed off. We're actually on an intraday basis. Actually, I believe it made that. Let me see. Did it make that intraday high there? Let me get the data box. And looking at the intraday, well, it's a couple of point off because its intraday high was 5,042.14. So we're about a little bit over 6.5 point off. So, but I do believe this thing will hit the new all-time closing high. But got to be careful with a lot of these little pop here. So on Monday, depending on how the opening look and what the candle, how it print, we could get a little bit of a pullback, and something like a little topping, gapping island, or a little what we call abandoned baby type of a candle formation if we get this, or maybe a gap down. And then just come down. So really have to be careful. We could see some sort of a pullback or a little bit of a pullback correction. I wouldn't say a sell-off or a top at this point, but a pullback is not not surprising to see. So let's take a look at Apple. Apple was a little bit underperformed last week ever since that. Get up to the Dow Jones Industrial on Thursday. See, that's kind of got a little bit of a negative day, and then Friday, kind of holding at that 128 level for a while until the last half an hour or so. Then they really sold off because of probably due to the OPEX. The expiration of options, because this Friday was the quadruple witching, and also you got some of these index rebalancing and having Apple getting to the Dow Jones. So there's a lot of probably some portfolio rebalancing as well. So the key thing is we need to watch this gap here next week because there is a little gap here. So we might still try to fill this gap, and then maybe we could get a bounce. And here's the pivot level that we need to take out. And that level here, let me see what's that level. Take the data box here, and we can see that high, that intraday high, is actually somewhere around 129.57. So essentially, we need to see take out that 129.50, 60 area. So ideally, 130 would be nice if we could get above that 130. And because that, if you look at it, it's a outside candle, right? And that's the high of this outside candle here, and basically want to see it take out that high. So essentially, take this out, then we could see it move up here, maybe try to take out or retest the recent high. Okay. Then on Facebook, Facebook really did a nice breakout last week. We saw that Facebook right here, took out this pivot, took out the pivot right here. All right. Okay. So when it took out this pivot, it just started going, and then when it broke through here to a new all-time high, it also went. Now, the other thing is, on Friday we got a little bit of a gapping shooting star candle here, so we got to be careful on this thing here as well, because on Monday, if we get a little bit of a gap down and then put a little red candle here, then we could see a little bit of a evening star formation. Then there's a possibility we could see a little bit of a pullback, but wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback and we test this previous all-time high up here, do a little bit of a shake and bake before it get back up there. And I'm looking at somewhere around this 85 near the near term, and possibly up here somewhere near this 85, 87 on this upper trend line here, just in the near term. But again, we kind of have to pay attention to the possibility, or be prepared for the possibility that it could pull back down and retest this 82 level. And on Twitter also, we're looking at this bull flag, and this is the pivot point that we want to see it broke, to break out of this pivot here, which is somewhere around 47.72, and I tweeted that out. And you can see that actually it broke through this trend line also, and this 47.72 is essentially a little bit of a confirmation of the bull flag breakout. But I know there's people probably eyeing this particular trend line here. If I take a look on the weekly chart here, so probably be people eyeing this particular trend line. So there's a couple of different trend line coming down on this. So, but on bull flag, we're playing the bull flag right now. We got a little bit of a doji, shooting star doji coming in on Friday, which is not good. So again, be a little bit cautious and be prepared for it to come back down and try to do a little shake and bake. So just stand firm and trade your plan. I hope that you enter the trade with a plan of where you're going to get stop out and what are your swing target. On the bull flag, what I have here is a possibility of getting up to this pivot high here, which is somewhere around this 56 area. Okay, and that would be somewhere around that 80% retracement on the bull flag. And it could get up to somewhere now around the 59 on the 100% retrace, 100% major move of this bull flag. So, and then Google, we also was looking at Google to be bounced off of this trend line. Remember this inflection point that we're talking about right here. So it's still kind of getting up there. Here's the little bit of resistance. So it's trying to break out of this this candle here, this candle high. So if we could get back up there, then we're probably looking at this level up here at this close to 585, right? This 583 level. And then we say if we could take out this 583, then we're looking at this 605. So kind of keep an eye on that. I think right now maybe the market is a little bit extended, so we probably get a little bit chop here. Wouldn't be surprised to get a little bit of a chop. But right now, Google seems to be looking a little bit more positive than when it was down here. So right now, I'm basically kind of looking at it to at least come up to retest this pivot high here, this 583 level in the near term. And here on Netflix, different story on Netflix. You have to hold this level here. There's somewhere around this 415, 416 area. If it dropped below here, then I wouldn't be surprised to see it get down to this little gap here between this pivot low and this pivot high. Okay, so we got to watch that. It might come up and fill this gap before it reverses down, because basically this could set up like a little bit of a H pattern breakdown. Right? So you got to be careful and watch that, because right now it's kind of dicey on Netflix. Unless you're doing a quick trade, that might be a play here. So let me see if we put in a Fibonacci retracement here. So it could get up to this 442. So the possibility is that it could come up, and then come back down like this. So that way, then you got this little bit of a H pattern, breakdown at 415. And then you kind of retrace down to this 127 extension. That's basically down at this pivot here. Right? So you got to keep that, bear that in mind as a possibility. But if you doing a quick trade, then yeah, you might be able to do some intraday, watch some intraday price action, and then trade up on this gap here. On Amazon, looking at Amazon, basically this pivot low and also coming back up above this pivot high. If it could come back up and retake this pivot high, then we say then it could basically come up and try to retest its all-time high up here at this level, somewhere around the 408. So on a weekly pattern, still look pretty good because it's basically holding up at this pivot, pivot level here, this support level. So basically just gotta need to watch this area and see can it come back up and we take this 389 area. Okay, so let's go back to the daily, and essentially what we're basically looking at is this here. So if it could hold this level, then we'll look for it to come up and take out this level. Once this level take out, then basically going to watch for it to move up toward that all-time high. But if it dip down, then there's a good chance to come back and retest this area here around 340. And once again, the last but not least, Tesla still tried to get back up to this trend line here, and I'm still not, kind of bullish on Tesla right now. I'm leaning to the bearish side, basically because of this pattern here on the weekly. Unless it could avoid this pattern, then I might change my perspective on Tesla. Because right now I'm still looking at this, head and shoulder pattern. Right? Okay. So you see this. So if it break this baseline somewhere around 183, 184, then it could come back down and retest this area at this 115. Now just looking at the open interest, there's quite a few open interests on the June 170 and 150 put. So there might be someone setting up some put spread on that. So you might want to pay attention to that. Somebody is betting on, between now and then, it's going to come down, at least dip below 170, might stay above 150. That might be the play. I don't know, but just looking at the open interest, because on the open interest, it doesn't tell you what the strategy is being set up. Right? Maybe some guy actually sold for credit. You never know. Okay, so rather than a debit position, it could be a credit position. Okay, so sell some and get some premium or something. So anyway, that's the reason why I'm a little bit of bearish on Tesla right now. So if it if it come up to this trend line here and it's encounter some resistance, unable to break through it, and start to revert back, I might go in on some long dated put, a little bit out of the money put, and play it for the break of this, this baseline here. Extension is playing for the break of this head and shoulder pattern. All right. So that's it. Hopefully, you made some money last week, and good luck to you on the coming week.